Hello YouTube, Tanashi back with another video, and this one will be a continuation of my first one on the animated tournament. So getting right into it, it's Toy Story versus Walle. Now if you've seen the last one or you haven't seen the last one, we did, my brother and I conducted a list of what we thought our top 32 movies, animated movies were. And this was actually inspired from AMC, who did a Movie Madness tournament where they did the top 32 animated films, and they did the seeds kind of brackets and had them face off and yada yada. Got to the end. Ours was a little different because it was our own personal top 32. We did watch a lot of movies though in order to decide this, but it was our own top 32, and we did a randomized kind of setting. So sometimes you have really strong films face each other off. Sometimes you have, I guess, a weaker film versus a stronger film because, decidedly they're supposed to be in the top 32. Like, by weaker, I'm not suggesting that it's a bad movie. I'm just saying that some of these films might actually, on paper, seem stronger than the others. But anyway, for this one, we had Toy Story versus Walle, and we broke it down into plot, main character, side characters, songs, humor, villains, cast, romance, memorability, and themes. So let's get started. First, with the plot. And I'm not going to go too much into detail on some of these. If you haven't seen the movies, any of these movies, I suggest you do. They're really good and really enjoyable films, and they go beyond, a lot of them go beyond the age bracket of being just for children. That being said, when we went with plot of the movie, we actually chose Toy Story. Walle has a nice plot, and that Walle has, kind of goes on this journey and ends up on a ship with all these human survivors from Earth and everything, and he just kind of chaos ensues around him, right? And that's pretty much the film is about that. And then of course him trying to win affections for Eva. And in any case, Toy Story is the better plot. You have Buzz, who has a bit of an identity crisis midway through the movie, because he starts off thinking that he is an actual space ranger, and he thinks that he can achieve all this stuff, and his goal is to get back to his space station. And during a point in the movie, he finds out that he is not. That he is an actual toy, like what Woody's been telling him the whole time, and there goes through a denial thing and all that. But throughout this entire thing, you have kind of Woody being jealous of Buzz and the attention he gets from Andy. So he tries to, he goes through this motion of trying to get Buzz trapped, ends up knocking Buzz out, the window by accident and everything. And they kind of have their own adventure. But their ultimate goal is to get back to Andy's room. And it's a bonding kind of journey that they go on. And I feel like Toy Story has the better plot of the two. Because whereas Walle, you pretty much have only the silliness surrounding everything that he kind of goes through on the ship and getting to the ship and all that. Toy Story, you have a lot involved with the characters themselves and the journey they're trying to take and the decisions they come up with. And I know that kind of goes into the main characters and side characters, which I'll get into in a minute. But I feel like the plot is stronger because of that. So Toy Story got the plot. When it came to main character, this one was actually really difficult. We actually pinned, and you might disagree with this, but we pinned Woody as being the main character. Not Woody and Buzz, just Woody. Whereas Walle, obviously, is the main character of his movie. And when we had to go on that, we actually went with Walle, because for being just a robot, he had such a, and not saying much, he had such a presence to him, such a likability, that it really carried the film. And it's surprising that a character like that could do so much for the film, whereas Toy Story itself is almost like an ensemble piece. I mean, you do have Woody and Buzz are the main ones, but you do have like Rex and Mr. Potato Head and Slink and RC, I believe. You have all them, and they kind of help with the movie, whereas Walle can carry it on his own. So that's really impressive to me. So Walle got the main character. Side characters, like I said, just went to Toy Story because, for one, they have a lot more side characters, I think, than Walle does. And Walle really only has the captain, two of the crew, I guess you would not really crew, two of the passengers, and you have Eve, right? So they're fine. Well, and you got some minor robot characters, but they don't really do that much. So I really think Toy Story had the better side characters. When it came to songs, we also gave it to Toy Story. Walle had a lot of older songs, and that actually worked really well for the film. But Toy Story had songs that kind of harkened to the themes and the progression of the story as well. It really tied into the story very well. And for me, they sound better. They're more enjoyable. So I can listen to them at any time and enjoy them. For humor, we gave it to Walle. Walle himself is hilarious. He's, again, such a likable character, and there are these moments where he's trying to take care of Eve and everything, and trying to impress her, and shenanigans, happen. Or when he's on the ship and he's just working his way around, stuff happens. So a lot of the humor comes from him. There's humor elsewhere in other characters as well, but really it's Walle that kind of carries the humor, and he does it really well. For villains, we have Toy Story because really they don't have strong villains, I'd say, but Sid is just like, wow, like what kind of, like, I almost want to see a kind of a sequel kind of series just focused on Sid to see what the heck happened to him after this movie, because that kid was nuts. And then to have the toys come to life and everything on him, to kind of like act out a little revenge, and he loses his mind. So I almost want to see what happens to him after that. But he was a very detestable kid. Whereas Walle, I forget the name. You have the one machine that's with the captain, but it's really not a villain as much, because it's setting out to do its directive. I should clarify the category is villains / antagonists. So really just the antagonist of the movie is that robot. But he's motivated simply because he thinks he's following orders. And it takes him a long time to show up. You don't really get much reference to him up to that point, whereas Sid is referenced early on in Toy Story. And there's just not much with him, whereas Sid had you saw a look into his world, and it was kind of scary. We skipped over cast, romance, and memorability, because we felt like cast is basically someone that brings life to the role that can't be replaced, and we felt like that was unfair for Walle. Toy Story would certainly have it, but Walle really didn't have too many characters. Actually had enough lines to warrant it being up for this category. Romance was kind of the same thing. Walle had a romance, a very present romance, that slowly built up, whereas Toy Story didn't have much. It had Bo Peep for like a few minutes, but that's it. Memorability was another one that was really hard because, to be fair, I think Toy Story would would have taken that one. It just has more memorable scenes than Walle does. But we went ahead and skipped over that. And then when we got to themes, we went with Walle because it had the whole kind of saving humanity bit, and why Earth was the way it was, and the inspiration of humanity to get it back to where it needs to be and everything, and pick them up from where they were because they were just used to the day-to-day stuff and all that, and it took an outsider to kind of show them the way. So I think that was really strong for Walle. Not that Toy Story didn't have good themes too. I just think Walle was more of a global themes, and they were really impactful. But in case you missed the count, we actually have a 4-3 vote in favor of Toy Story. So Toy Story actually wins this, and I believe so. Some might even question why Walle was in here, but I think it's a really good and underrated Pixar movie. So I was impressed by how close the final tally was. But anyway, so that's the end of that round, and Toy Story takes it and moves on from the first one. Lion King versus Mulan. If you haven't seen that, please go check it out, and check out my other vids. And also, let me know if there's any animated movie you think deserves to be in the top 32, or do you agree or disagree with this matchup? So comment below and let me know. Thanks.